know, you've gotten some training in the past. When you came on board to the lendingpreneur team, you know, tell me what was one of your takeaways from the training? Like what did you learn that you didn't know before that has given you an advantage?
Uh, if I could be candid, the thing I understood immediately in the lendingpreneur was that if you don't care, you're just like anybody else. And why would anybody want to do business with you if you don't care? And caring meant understanding and learning, and then being able to offer the right product to the right person. It never came across to me in the training that it was transactional, that it was about the money. It was about building relationships, understanding. And once you understood, having those connections that led to meaningful conversations that, even if it didn't manifest into a business deal, I always felt like having had that training and using those tools that I walked away from those conversations, leaving that person a lot better, a lot more educated about what was occurring, what their options were, than I would have had I just picked up the phone and called them and tried to sell them a product. So my first impression was this guy, like this guy cares, right? I mean, it really isn't just about the numbers. And unfortunately, there's a lot of advertising. I see it on television all the time. Call us, we can get you funded the next day. And I keep thinking to myself, if you're doing it that way, you're probably going to get enough people who will take advantage of the offer, but they aren't going to be able to take advantage of the opportunity.
Hmm.
And I really appreciated that what we were trying to do is create a pipeline of opportunity that it continues to grow and expand so that 3, 4, 5 years from now, that business, that individual is in a position to really do something meaningful and impactful, as opposed to a year from now trying to figure out how they're going to pay back that note on the loan.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good feedback for me too, because that's always been my intention with this is to give you the context of like the greater purpose of what you're doing this for and really helping somebody kind of break through the limitations that they've been facing because it's more about that than it is about the money. They're looking for the money to fix a problem or to get somewhere else. And when you can dial in on that, you notice you have such a greater impact versus the guy that's calling you from New York City. Nothing against people from New York, but calling you from the merchant lender, and he's just trying to close a deal and move you forward as fast as possible. Now you kind of took this pretty quickly, and you were in the class we started here in May, and you took that and you started to get results right away. Were you just not clear on you needed to kind of like a script of what to say, the positioning? I know you're starting to get leads now online with the messaging that I gave you. What were some of the actual tangibles that helped give you an edge that you felt like you didn't have?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think the first thing was the training that you provided was motivational and inspirational, right? It was around you can do this, right? It wasn't this is the most complex thing in the world. You broke it down and you made it tangible. You gave us examples of individuals like my leader, Alexia Vila, who actually came from a different industry and was able to very quickly use the tools that you provided to be able to be successful. And as a person coming into this industry or any industry, it is so impactful to see someone else have success and to be able to identify with them. You've been able to aspire and achieve great heights in your career, but it would be really illogical for me to come in and compare myself to you.
Totally.
But I could look at an Alexa who's been great for me, who's been in the industry for a shorter period of time and has success, and say, okay, I can do it because I see someone who's similarly positioned to myself and I can do that. That was the first thing that was impactful. The second thing was the tools that you gave in terms of scripting and messaging actually makes it a lot easier to speak to individuals once you go through, as you said, several times to get comfortable, not with the wording verbatim, but getting comfortable with what it is you're trying to communicate. What are the
Mm.
questions that you're trying to get answered? So I've been able to tailor those that fit my personality, but I'm also staying inside of the boundaries of the questions. I'm getting those answers, what are you why are you in the business? How did you get in the business? How long? What type of partnership are you in? What do you need the money for? How much do you need? What would it mean if you got it? What are your challenges? Those type of things. I don't necessarily do them in the order,
Hmm.
but I get to them in the context of the conversation. And that was not happening before you provided the tools. I mean, I was all over the place. I mean, there was no telling what was coming out of my mouth next. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think we all find ourselves all over the place at times, and it's good to bounce ideas off of somebody who at least has been there. I think any problem or any challenge you're going to face now, and as you get to six figures, and as you start to build your team and really get it running on all cylinders, somebody has already gone through all those challenges. And so it's good to have a connection within a community of people who are, you're going to get to a point where you've got yourself doing 5 deals a month, 10 deals a month, whether that's with us or with other lenders. And then you're going to start to build your team, and you can structure a lot of really just remote based sales teams around you, the same commission structure you have. And people within this community are going to see that. And they're going to say, Tracy, I look up to you as a leader, or I look up to you as a mentor, which is really powerful, because I think that's to get that type of recognition, even though that's not what it's about for us. It's cool to see you start to step into your own, and other people look to you the way you're looking to Alexia. I know a lot of these new people next week will start looking to you like that too. So if you're not registered for that, I'd love to have you jump on and kind of share some feedback about your experience you've had in the last 60 days.
Mhm.
I know you've got a lot of deals coming in that have just come really over the last 60 days. You've started to apply what you've learned. Like you said, you're asking questions from a different positioning, instead of like a broker or somebody who's trying to convince a prospect to work with you. You're looking at it like you're actually investing in that business. And when you shift that positioning, you're as if you're being a good steward of your own capital. You're asking the right questions, and your framing is coming across to that client as you're an expert. You've done this before, and that has made all of the difference. I've seen it with people on our team. I've seen it with students in the class. I'm seeing it with you, which is awesome. It's been a short period of time. If somebody was thinking about joining the class next week or becoming one of our partners and learning how to do deals, what kind of advice would you give them if they're thinking about joining the group?
My advice would be invest in yourself, right? That hour a week or hour and a half a week is probably the most impactful investment you can make in the success of your business, right? I mean, if you could almost have a one-on-one with you, uh, that's really what it is, because it's very intimate, informal, but structured. So we also have the opportunity later on in the week to have a feedback question and answer session. So we can take the information that we received on a Monday, apply it for a few days, and then where we have questions, come back at the end of the week, have some follow-on specific questions tailored to what we learned. So as an individual who's really trying to hone their skills, to make headway, to break through whatever barriers, you really can't find anyone who's going to teach you how to be the best you can be in the industry. I mean, I've looked. I didn't. I will be quite candid with you. I looked. I've asked questions. I've talked to other people, and either through time, convenience, or competitiveness, I've not found that from anyone. So I don't miss your calls, right? I don't miss the question and answers, because I learned from my classmates sometimes as much as I learn from you because they ask questions I might not have gotten to that point in my deals, or I had that question and I forgot to ask. So
Mm.
those two opportunities, one to learn on a Monday and then Thursday to come back to ask questions about what you learn, I, I, you know, anyone who doesn't invest that time into themselves are really shortchanging their success.
It's true. It is true. You know, you've gotten trained in a few different areas. What would you say is some of the differences between what you've gotten just working with me versus some of the other training you've seen out there that's available?
So the biggest takeaway is your training is real time in terms of it's not theoretical. You get a lot of training where it's cookie cutter and it's, you just do this, you do A, you do B, you do C. But no one tells you that sometimes the linkage between A and B isn't there. How do you get to B? Right. And we have discussions about how you get to B. Right. And,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the glue that holds the pieces together. And you give us that glue. You give us those bridges that help us. Oh, I see it. I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting there on a Monday night and I go, oh, I need to write that down. Oh, that's exactly why. Because I can give you a program and I can give you a book, but to have the ability to speak with you and your coworkers and work with my peers to make that go from here's the recipe, but to actually be in the kitchen creating the dish is invaluable. I mean, that is really mentorship at its foundational levels. And so the 30, 40 people that kind of work within our cohort that started there, right? I talk to them often, and it has been invaluable because no one else, and maybe there's someone else I haven't found them, but what we get from that, and I can't put a value on it. In fact, I'm really glad you haven't charged us for it. So thank you for that.
Well, you guys are the guinea pigs. It's like I'm gonna take a group of people who have no experience doing this. Some have experience, and let's see what we can do with this group. And can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm like, let's see what we can do with this group, and let's see what kind of results we can create within a short period of time. So, the feedback is awesome. I appreciate that. It helps me tailor, what works, what is irrelevant, or maybe what you're not ready for just yet, and what should come down the line. And I think I've tried to package this and stack it in a way where it's not you get so overwhelmed you don't know what to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you just what you need to do tomorrow, and that's it. And you're going to feel like you can't see past the first step, and that's fine, but you got to just take it. And then I'm going to show you the next level, and then the next level. And then you're able to comprehend building a funnel, writing copy, and starting to do a video, and really the structure of some of those more advanced strategies. So it's awesome to see not only your progress but your energy too. I mean, you're turned on, and it's as if you found something that works. You're on purpose. You've got some direction, and I think that's all we're really missing. How is the community? You say you've talked to a lot of your students and your teammates. How's the community really helped you over the last couple weeks?
You know, um, Quite candidly, Mikhail, when I started this journey, I was really on my own. Um, Took the here's the program, go forth and conquer, right? And a lot of bumps, bruises, gaps in the information, holes in my knowledge. But in the community, we get together on Zoom calls. We'll jump up a lot of chat in the Facebook group. We've even exchanged personal cell phones. So we do a lot of talking. And what we find is we are all similarly challenged for a lot of different things.
Mm.
But what we all bring a different perspective. Hey, I tried this. Maybe you should try this. Here's a bit of technology that I've used that helped me to, organize my contacts. Or have you thought about working with this particular group? I work with this group in my area. There may be a similar group in your area. So one, having a community, knowing that there are people out there who are pushing and striving, such as yourself, but also having the ability to pick up and talk through things that they may have experienced that you're going through has been invaluable. Now, I didn't have that community prior to joining the Lendingpreneur workshops. So, one, thank you for that, because that group has been as impactful and meaningful to me as your training. But in the absence of that group, I think that you don't have the support, right? Because this can be a tough industry from time to time, and sticking with it and pushing through. It's good to know that there are others who are out there doing it and doing it the right way and building a foundation and trying to get there. So it's been great for me. So I encourage anyone who can join to get in on this, because this is gold.
Good, good. I appreciate that. That's really all the questions I have for you. You got anything for me? We got probably another 5-10 minutes here. If you got any questions for me, or if you want to wait till tonight, that's fine. Anything you want to ask me, I'm all open for you.
Yeah, I appreciate the flexibility in the group, and I see and recognize a lot of the tools that you're developing, not only with the dashboard, the back office. I love that, but also with the tools that you're presenting in the course. And you mentioned it earlier. I think it's been important. We all want to run, right? We all want to run. But my mother would always say, you got to crawl before you walk, and you got to walk before you run. And I didn't understand it initially, but I grasp it now, why you did it the way you've done it, right? The bits, the pieces, and build on it, because as you move forward, we're always going back to use something that we learned in the beginning, right? The value stacking, right? The how do you network, right? So when you add more fuel to the fire, i.e., messaging, cold messaging, right? Warm messaging, the banners that we can apply and use. And one of the things I did, I took one of the banners, and when I have a phone call where I'm unsuccessful connecting with the individual, I actually paste the banner in an email I sent to the person to say, hey, I missed you. When you get an opportunity, give me a call. I got an exciting opportunity. I think you might be interested. Let's talk about it and see if you're a good fit. And there's the banner there at the bottom saying, hey, when you work with us, here's our strategy. This is what the things we do. And so that was more impactful, because I got people, oh, well, that looks interesting. Let me send them back an email and see if we can set things up. So that's been great. So thank you for those tools, because I obviously have not been in this industry nearly with the experience that you have. So you providing that tool has helped add fuel to what I'm doing. So thank you.
Good, good. People, it's funny you say that. What comes to mind is people don't care about you. They don't really even care about what you do other than how it can help them. And so that banner talks about, here's the result that they can achieve, and that captures their attention.